I own a condominium over here, and year after year I keep getting hit with large special assessments. It's actually very frustrating. It's like scare tactics that are thrown out of, if we don't do this, if we don't fund this, then we disclose it to mortgage companies and you won't be able to sell your place.
Right. Who said we disclose it? The contractor?
No, some other HOA board members.
Isn't that weird behavior?
I mean, you're holding people hostage, right?
Yeah. That's a threat.
So what's your question today?
Well, so are you guys familiar with real estate law?
Yeah. A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so I own a condominium over here, and year after year I keep getting hit with large special assessments. It's actually very frustrating. A lot of what the HOA board does is they constantly talk about, hey, we need to assess you guys large special assessments to avoid any sort of legal constraints around, like, hey, if we identify this issue and it's a structural issue with the building, like, we have to fix it right away, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise that gets reported to a mortgage company. All that, yes. I guess the question I have is, who can make that determination of what is actually a structural issue? And for example, like right now we rely on a general contractor who's obviously incentivized to find problems. Can that general contractor then say there's a structural issue and we would have to then fix that? To me, that's a bit of a conflict of interest, so I'm hoping to get your guys' opinion on this.
That's a great point. You've already identified the big issue. Most boards, they have an obligation to go get disinterested bids and assessments from structural engineers. There are specific groups that will do the analysis but aren't doing the work itself.
Yes.
And so that reduces the conflict of interest. This is very common that in an HOA board, they may know someone, and even when they don't do it in a bad way, they're just thinking they're just scared and they got to do it, but they don't go about getting multiple bids to understand what is often a gray area, right?
Yeah.
Someone who might be hyper concerned or have a financial interest will go, yeah, you better fix this. In 300 years, if there's a flood, this building's going to collapse, right? Versus, guys, there's 99 buildings in a square block that have the same issue. What do we really need to do?
Right.
And that can even compare the techniques or the cost or the involvement or how long you do it over time.
Right.
So if they're not getting multiple assessments and they're not getting multiple disinterested folks, that's a big problem. And you can definitely document that in writing to them. Is there a lawyer involved with the condo board yet?
No, and I'm going to give it a little bit more context here. I'm part of the board, but
Okay.
I'm like more of it, I would say, in a back seat role.
Sure.
Because I'm new to the community and I'm trying to learn like what's normal here, and I keep getting it thrown, I don't want to say in my face, but it's very much like, well, the contractor says there's a structural problem, we now have to fix that. And it's like, well, don't you need like a structural engineer to go say that? Or like you're saying, like multiple bids. Anything seems better than a single general contractor
100%.
who's just obviously incentivized to find problems.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's the case in your situation, but a lot of times it's the brother-in-law of the person who happens to be on the committee, or
we have a lot of conversations about
it. And that's why multiple bids, structural engineers who can come out and do the assessment. And here's the thing, you seem like a reasonable guy. Mm-hmm. Asking that question and you can make it like, hey, if you were going to get your car repaired, you'd probably take it to 2 or 3 shops to make sure that this person is the right person to do it and that we're doing the right job and make sure that we're good, right? Insurance companies do it, regular people do it.
Yep.
This is what your board should be doing.
Yep.
Josh, what do you think?
I think I'd add in on that besides, I think I agree with everything Bill said. You want to get multiple quotes, make sure that you're getting a fair price. But separate from that, I really like how you point out, well, who's qualified to actually make this determination?
Best question.
Right?
Yeah.
And then every different HOA you're going to have your own CCRs for your property. And they're going to determine what the authority is. If you're on the board, I would say like being persuasive to the other board members, being persuasive to the community, right? Like you have people that vote, you have people that have a voice within that community, and if it looks like they're spending too much money and not being, what's the word?
You're not getting
good
ROI.
Stewards. Here's the other thing you might look at. In your covenants, your CCNRs, there might be something in there that a lot of boards ignore about when decisions hit a certain threshold about an assessment, there has to be a vote outside of the board. Some say the board can just decide. Some say there has to, if it hits a certain dollar amount, you've got to go to the community and then you can get more people involved. And I guarantee you're not the only one asking these extremely reasonable questions.
No, and we do have a vote on it. The problem is we constantly get this, it's like scare tactics that are thrown out of, if we don't do this, if we don't fund this, then we disclose it to your mortgage companies and you won't be able to sell your place.
Right. Who said we disclose it? The contractor?
No, some other HOA board members. And so it kind of squashes the conversation right there, because then I go, well, again, who can make that determination?
That is weird
And
behavior.
I just don't
Isn't
know.
that weird behavior?
That tells me there's some thread here of bias, maybe intentional or unintentional, to be forcing it that way and being so scared. So I would definitely say look at those things. There are a number of great condo lawyers who represent individuals. But here's the thing, even a condo lawyer who represents the association would go, you got to get multiple bids, guys. You got to justify the
someone
assessments.
is taking payola, dude. Like it is a wild statement to say.
Good money
if
on
we
payola.
don't do this, I'm gonna report it, and you're not gonna be able to sell.
I mean,
your
you're holding
property.
people hostage, right?
Yeah.
That's a threat. Yeah, that's not. This is not.
Well, and here's the other
kosher.
part. It drives down the value of your properties to have to continue to do that and have that history of assessment.
I'm feeling it right now.
Yes.
This is why I'm talking to you guys.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
so
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah. That's so I would say those questions are the ones asked. Presented in it, like the car example is a really good way to do it. I agree with what Josh said. Other folks are going to understand the reasonableness of that, and you can get a groundswell of folks who are going, guys, it's a reasonable question. Dakota's right. Let's just get multiple bids, and right then you'll find out if someone goes, no, we trust my cousin. Oh shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Your instincts are right. Something is not right.
We're gonna grassroots it then.
Yeah. Find
I
us on YouTube at Hardly Legal. If there's still an issue, reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk
we
further.
also do call-ins on Friday afternoons.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tune in,
It's
you guys.
free. It's anonymous. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you
All
so
right.
much.